Hey there, guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tales from the Podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and unfortunately this week, Jack's not able to be here. So, I guess it's kind of unfortunate. It might be a blessing. Who the fuck knows? So, anyways, before I get started too much going into this episode, I do have a couple of things I need to announce real quick. So, about the contest, it is ending Monday. The fundraiser raffle thing. And with that being said, for the last few days, we're going to add on a third option. So for most of you, you already know that $5 will get you one entry, $20 will get you six. Well, now for the next, 2.5, 3 days roughly, $30 will get you 12 entries. And I actually went and met up with a good friend of the show, Josh Nealis, and got these comic books from him and got them signed as well. So that was a nice surprise too. So whoever is going to be winning this prize not only is going to get some of these books, but these ones are going to be signed too, which is pretty fucking cool of Josh. Josh is a really cool guy. And for those who do not exactly. But even for those who don't win, though, go to cutthroatcomics.com and go check out some of the stuff that Josh has going on. He's doing a lot of shit over there. And even as Kevin Given, who's also donated some books, that's been doing some of the Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter stuff over there. It's pretty interesting shit. But, for the next couple of days, like I said, you can get 12 entries for $30, and all the proceeds are going to be helping with the Malvolia season 4 with the Halloween special and more special effects at this point. So everything that anybody can help with is pretty fucking awesome, and we really appreciate everybody who's entered now already. It's been quite a fucking blast to say the least. But anyways, I'm sure a lot of you guys are really here to talk about Tales from the Crypt. So I'm going to bring on my guest for this episode. He's actually a new friend of mine. We met through a mutual buddy, Andy. And here's Justin from the Drunk Conspiracies podcast. How's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Oh. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
You can get 12 inches for free on Grindr, so I hear. That's my buddy Ron. Ron is he's super into Grindr, and it's always a 12-inch joke with him. But anyways, man, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you and what you do with the Drunk Conspiracies podcast?
All right. So my name's Justin D'Atremont, and I'm the host of Drunk Conspiracies podcast. It basically just how it sounds, man. I get drunk with my guests and we talk conspiracy theories. Just like try to do like the history of it. Like I like to dig deep into like the background of the conspiracy and like the history of it, and then just get into the crazy shit about it. And I believe I have 5 episodes out right now. It's going pretty good. Got some episodes coming up that I'm looking forward to.
That's pretty cool, man. I actually checked out a few of your episodes, and like obviously our mutual friend Andy's on one of them. It's pretty fucking interesting, man. I really dig what you're doing over there. It's pretty cool.
I appreciate it. I've always been big into conspiracy theories. I wouldn't say I'm like a crazy conspiracy nut like some people are, but I keep an open mind about everything, so I've just always been interested in it. And me and my wife were drinking one night and watching Drunk History. And I was like, man, they should do a drunk conspiracy show. And then like the light bulb just like went off in my head. And I was like, maybe I should do a podcast on drunk history or drunk conspiracy. So that's basically how it came about.
It's pretty fucking awesome, man. Yeah, like I said, I already dig what you do over there. And Andy's this is Andy chiming in, by the way. He says he got fucking hammered on your show. It got out of hand.
It did. Yeah, like a 3-hour conversation came out of it, but it was an interesting conversation though, for sure.
I can fully understand how Andy's somebody you can talk to and really get lost in his voice too. So it can just
Yeah.
last and go on and on and on. But anyways, man, why don't we go ahead and talk a little bit about this? So we're going to be talking about season 3, episode 7, The Reluctant Vampire, which was released on July 10th of 1991 and is based off of the Vault of Horror issue number 20 comic book. So I'm assuming this is not your first rodeo, to say the least, with Tales from the Crypt. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe what got you started watching this show?
So when I was a kid, I live in Michigan now, but I'm originally from Tennessee. I was born and raised down there, and I lived in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area. It's a big tourist area, but we have this place called Ripley's Believe It or Not, like attraction place. And when I used to go there all the time, and actually inside of there they have the Tales of the Crypt guy in there. And so when I was a kid, I saw it, and I've always been a big horror fan. I've been watching horror movies since I was like 3 years old. So like I see this thing, and I was like, cool, what is this? And like so I got into it, and then I saw that it was based off of a show. So that's kind of how I got into Tales of the Crypt as a kid.
Right. I'm assuming you're talking about the animatronic actual piece there. Yeah. Kevin Yeager did a fucking awesome job on that, man, and
He really
still
did.
continues to do some really good work. I'm not sure if you know this, but he was the one behind the latest Bill and Ted movie.
I did not know that. No.
Yeah. You can actually he's actually done all the Bill and Ted movies, to be fair, but you can go to his website and not only can you buy some of the stuff, but like some of it's really cool. Like you can actually get like pieces from like Station on his shop. Like sure, it's thousands of dollars, but it's fucking badass. Like the guy is an amazing special effects artist.
I may have to check out his website then.
Oh, dude, definitely. After the show, I'll send it your way, dude. And
Okay.
if you decide to purchase the Crypt Keeper doll, you gotta at least let me get a couple pictures with it. You live too close not to.
Right. Like we live like what, like an hour and a half away.
About that. Like I'm on the Michigan border. So yeah, definitely. So anyways, let's talk about this episode a little bit. So
Right.
it was directed by Elliot Silverstein, who he did a lot of work with Twilight Zone. He did the Flashfire, Omnibus, Route 66. He's been working for quite a long time and was pretty well established before even doing this. So it was kind of cool they got him on here. And this was written by Terry Black. Well, at least the screenplay was. As far as everybody knows, these are pretty much like the comic book was like a storyboard like for it. So doing a screenplay for one of these episodes is probably has to be one of the easiest jobs in the fucking world. It's right there in front of your fucking face. But he did Dead Heat, a lot of Tales from the Crypt, as well as quite a bit of Tales from the Crypt Keeper too, which is really cool because this is at least as far as like going through IMDb credits on a lot of these people, other than like John Kassir, he is one of the first people that I see actually working on not only Tales from the Crypt but Tales from the Crypt Keeper, which is pretty cool. Do you remember that cartoon from when you were a kid?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun. I loved it. He even did the Red Steel video games too. I know you're about my age, so you probably remember those.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So and then we have our actors for this episode. So of course we got Malcolm McDowell.
Right.
I don't even know sometimes why I'm like, all right, I'm going to talk about what he's done. Like nobody knows. So he was in Clockwork Orange, Caligula, Tank Girl, Fantasy Island, Superman, and Spider-Man. He did voices on the cartoons for. Island of the Dead, the newer Halloween movies, the remakes.
I
As
don't
good.
get me started. Don't get me started on the remakes.
Hey, I am not a huge fan of him either, but I like Malcolm, and
I didn't like him in it though. I
I
didn't. He was.
I, I
Uh,
agree. I agree.
he
He was
wasn't a
better.
good Loomis.
He was way better in Tank Girl, but
Yes,
that's my personal opinion. But
I agree.
when I was looking through some of these things, one of the things that I thought was really cool that I didn't know before, and I'm sure there was a lot of people out there, but I didn't know he was doing a lot of the voices on like Metalocalypse. Did you?
I didn't know.
Like
When
that was
when I was
interesting.
looking up this, yeah, when I was doing research for it, I saw that too on stuff he's done, and I had no idea, to be honest.
Right? It caught me off guard to say the least. Like at least enough where I felt like, man, I should probably tell people about this. Like it's like some
Right.
secret or something. I guess next we'll go on to Sandra Dickinson.
Hmm.
Dickinson. She was in Superman 3, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. She did voices for the We're Back, the dinosaur story. She was in Ready Player One, but then she was in this one movie that was not that great, and I reviewed it on my other show. So she was in Space Truckers, which was a quite interesting movie to say the least. I'm not 100% sure how the fuck it was made or why, but it was. And yeah, Tank Girl was a fucking trippy ass movie. But I fucking love Tank Girl, so I don't care. I still watch it at least once a year. And for some reason, Andy, I don't know why. I guess you can't post comments as GIFs up on the StreamYard, so I can't even show the Metalocalypse GIFs that you're showing right now. But that kind of leads into our next actor in this. We got George Wendt, who was also in Space Truckers. I cannot
Really,
stress enough how much people really need to go out and search for this movie. All right, you got literally truckers that are like 14 or like whatever 18 wheelers, but there's no wheels and they're in space. And like he's transporting these square pigs at first, like they're box pigs because they're like kept in like a box like little thing. It's all just a fucking strange movie, dude. There's
it
a
sounds like it.
really uncomfortable sex scene with like a half cyborg guy that needs to use a fucking pull ripcord to fucking get this shit going. Like I can't stress enough. People really need to search that movie out. At least give it one watch.
I may
Um,
have to now.
yeah. But I guess I should probably talk about some of George's like bigger movies, like Spice
Hmm.
World. No,
Right.
no,
A lot of people don't. That's what I know him from.
Oh no, he was in Taxi, MASH. What my favorite thing that he's been in is House. I
Yeah.
fucking love that movie. And then of course Cheers. You
Cheers.
know, obviously.
Fletch.
Yeah, yep, dude,
He was in Fletch.
he's fucking in everything. Like realistically, he's one of those people that like, well, not only is he like super noticeable, but he looks like a lot of other actors too. So
Yeah,
he's easily mistakable too. Our next actor that we have in this is Michael Berryman, who, may I add, is probably the creepiest part of this episode, just the way he looks.
for sure.
You know, but he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Hills Have Eyes 1 and 2, Weird Science, Devil's Rejects. But then I was looking a little deeper and I found that he was in First and 10, which is cool. So obviously he has some kind of connection with John Cassier because John Cassier was in that series as well. But the
Hmm.
really cool thing that I didn't realize, and this is a movie that I really need to review on my other show because we tend to go for more lower rated movies on that show, to say the least. But he was in Double Dragon. Do you remember that one?
No shit. He
Yes.
was?
Yes.
Granted, I haven't seen Double Dragon probably since the 90s.
Yeah, I think I was
It's
probably 10 the last time I saw it.
oh man, it's been a minute since I've
Yeah.
seen Double Dragon. I forgot all about that movie, to be honest. I'm
Oh,
gonna have to
dude.
go watch it now.
Right. Well,
But
at least the people behind Double Dragon are going to be making a couple of dollars today after the show.
right?
It's probably the first amount of money that they've made since it came out.
More than
Oh
likely.
god. And then we also got Paul Gleason in this episode. And what, Maniac Cop 3, Doc Savage, Die Hard, Revenge of the Nerds 4, Breakfast Club, Not Another Teen Movie, Trading Places, Van Wilder. This motherfucker's in everything too. Like, we literally have a full blown like all-star fucking cast for this one, and
Yeah.
most of them were already very well established before this episode came out, which is really cool. It seems like a lot of them have like kind of like a decent start, and then Tales from the Crypt, and then they blow up real big. But these
Mm-hmm.
people were like, most of them were like very well known household names before they were even on this, which is really cool.
Yeah, I like the fact that they actually got like already known actors to come on, because usually like stuff like this, like you'll get actors just starting out, and then like they get big later on. But
Well,
I like
not
the
with
fact.
Tales from the Crypt so much. Like Tales from
True.
the Crypt was a little different because of the producers behind it. Like,
Right.
if you wanted to be somebody in the early '90s in Hollywood, you pretty much, if Tales from the Crypt came knocking on your door, you don't say no. And I've almost every celebrity guest that I've had on here has literally word for word said that, just because of all the people that were behind this show. It was
Mm-hmm.
insane for the time. But anyways, I guess we should go ahead and talk a little bit about this episode. So we end up meeting our main character here, Mr. Longtooth, if you will. And obviously he's a vampire, and it's like super cheesy right off the bat. It's, we got the how like you watching like those early '90s, late '80s like sitcoms and other shows, and you have the bed in the wall, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. Well, he's doing it with the coffin, so you already get this vibe that it's going to be a lot different than your standard Tales from the Crypt episode. You're getting a lot more of these like like what 80s B horror comedy tropes, I guess, like just really cheesy things, and even the music kind of plays along with it too. But it was still really fun. It really was. But he ends up walking to work. We find out that he works for a blood bank, and that he's really into this other girl that he works with. But on top of it, he also, we get his boss, which is George Wendt's character. But super fucking creepy dude, man. That's like, I, I,
Yeah.
I wonder if he would take up that role again nowadays, knowing like everything that's going on and the way the world is now. If he would even say those things on camera, like it
I
was
hope
a.
he wouldn't, but you never know. He might.
No, you really don't. That's for sure. But we end up finding out that pretty much. I'm just gonna, I guess, jump ahead a little bit, but there's not too much that really happens in this episode. This episode's fairly cut and dry for what it is. We get
It
the
really is.
vampire who works at a blood bank, and he has his pet rat. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his name was Leo. That, but he
Yeah.
does have a nice little scene where he's talking to that rat for quite a while, which is pretty fucking interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that rat got scale, but
Maybe.
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
But yeah, we end up finding out that he's really into this girl, and so is his boss, who's making these pretty strong moves onto her, and they later end up not only just becoming like really strong moves, but like almost threats, like you have to do something with him, otherwise you're gonna not have a job or not save the guy you love. And I guess it is what it is. It was the '90s.
Yeah, for that time, it was I
It
don't
was a
want to
little bit
say
more acceptable.
acceptable, but yeah, definitely not nowadays.
No. I guess it was acceptable for them to put it on film for some
Film,
reason.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that I think it was acceptable. I'm just saying that obviously it was, because it was all over the place. But
Mhm.
we end up finding out right away that, while working at the blood bank, he's been stealing blood and changing like the ledgers pretty much in the books, and changing the numbers to make it, go with what he's been eating too. But he finds out that the book's been took. So now he has to go off and kill somebody, which he does not like to do. He's I guess the best way to put it is, what's put later into the episode, is that he is a very sensitive vampire,
Right.
which is fucking hilarious, I guess. Like they had fun with this episode, that's for sure.
They did, yeah.
And with that being said, he starts to he kills somebody and replaces some of the blood and kind of adds a little bit more too. And the next day, I believe, or I guess they don't really justify like the timeline by day, but the next time we see them all gathering up for like their group meeting and everything, we get their boss going off about needing more blood, or there's going to be layoffs and stuff like that. So I don't know if you noticed it, but it was really, really weird the way it was filmed, because you could tell the entire fucking time that he was directing that entire conversation to Mr. Longtooth. Like the whole fucking time he was just staring just at him, nobody else at all. So it was kind of obvious that like there was already something going on where he already knew, which I don't know. I guess when we do the comic book comparison, there's some pretty big differences in this episode, to say the least.
There is, yeah, there is.
But yeah, I guess I forgot that I mentioned, he did have this little blood martini drink, which was pretty fucking interesting to see him do.
Right.
But he ends up going out and killing more people, and he kind of justifies it by saying that he's going after bad people or criminals. So with this as his justification, he goes out, starts murdering people, and increases the blood. He gets so much blood there where it's it's so much, I guess, that they had to do a fucking montage. So like,
right,
we get a whole scene of him just going through Pearson and just going up. And what did they say, that they've increased? They got like 500 pints or something. So which is a lot of fucking blood.
Right. A mysteriously amount of blood, like, that just shows up.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, it's like, yeah, I guess we get more of a better idea of that in the comic book. And Ron, yeah, kind of like a Dexter before Dexter, minus talking to his invisible dad. Like, I don't know. It was a really, really odd one. I'm trying to think, like, how many pints of blood are in the average human body? Because they get 500 pints. That seems like quite a bit. I'm not sure how much that is. I need to actually look that up. So we're gonna figure out how much blood is in a human body, which is such a fuck. I hope whoever searches my search history when I die doesn't really judge me that bad. Like, there's gonna be a lot of really, really weird shit in there. I guess 10.5 pints, which is, wow, 10.5 pints. That's a lot more blood that's in the human body than I actually thought there would be, man. I don't know about you.
I didn't expect 10.5, you said?
Yeah, 10.5 pints. That's a fucking lot of blood. So let's do some basic math real quick. So, oh man, we end up with an odd number here. So we end up with 47.61, well, 62 rounded up, if we take the 500 pints from 2 days and divide it by the 10.5. So I'm assuming, with that being said, that he killed 47 adults and 1 child
in like 2 days.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Rod, 10 fights. Right. 8% of your body weight, roughly. Oh, man. I love you, Rod. I got a feeling that his search history probably looks a lot like mine.
Probably.
But that's a lot of fucking people to kill in 2 days, man.
That is, like, he went on a mission.
Right. Well, it's like, it's weird because it's not only is he killing these people in just 2 days, but within 2 days, only at night, only while working, did he kill all those people and take all their blood out and then put their blood into bags. I don't think I could have done one of those jobs in 2 nights. Nonetheless, all of them. So, props to him. Even though he's a very sensitive vampire, he's a very hard worker, and I feel like that's missing in today's world. Like, we don't get a lot of that.
You really don't. No.
Mine is worse. I had to Google if you could use tendons as a you didn't have to. I feel like you could have just asked me, but I guess I'm getting a little bit off track here. So get back into Tales from the Crypt, guys. So we end up getting these other scenes that are going on around the same time too, with these who is it? Rupert Van Helsing.
Yeah,
And he's right. All vampires do today is fucking sparkle. Yeah, we don't get too many good vampires anymore. That's for sure. But with this Rupert Van Helsing character, which is, like I said earlier, he's probably the creepiest part of this episode.
definitely.
Like I was telling you before the show, I was getting like the Christopher Lloyd, like Roger Rabbit vibe off of him, just like the way he looked and everything. And actually, I believe I do have a picture of him. But yeah, he's just a really creepy looking fucker in this one. That's for sure. Let's show some other pictures. We got him pumping some blood back in, which is pretty cheesy, but whatever. I love it.
It's almost like a keg of blood.
Yeah, definitely is. Whatever. I'm sure he loved it.
Right?
Michael Berryman, fucking A. Michael Berryman is a scary looking motherfucker, dude. That is for sure. I don't
He
know
is.
what, like, he was creepy as shit in that episode. Like, there's
Mhm.
no arguing that. He was, like I said, he was definitely the creepiest part of it.
Probably my favorite character in the episode too.
You know,
was
I would definitely have to
creepy.
go ahead and agree with that.
Yeah, because he was so creepy. He was perfect for the for this episode and for the role, and I definitely liked his character the best, I think.
Right. Looking like great value, Judge Doom. It's yes, you're not wrong. And I believe this is probably our buddy Andy over here. Don't want to get you off topic, but I'd be curious to hear your thoughts about the sparkly vampire turning into Batman. Justin, other side. Well, do you want to go ahead and answer that one first before I do? I've been asked this question so many times recently that I already know exactly what I'm going to say. So I always like to give the other person a chance to talk.
When I found out that Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman, I'm a huge Batman fan. I have a Batman tattoo. Batman's my favorite fucking superhero of all time. Very big into Batman, and when I saw that he was going to be playing Batman, I was kind of like hesitant about it. But I don't know. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and not judge him too hard before I see it. Because a lot of times, like nowadays, with all the Batmans that they've been coming out with, you don't get a solid like Bruce Wayne and Batman. You get one or the other.
Sometimes neither.
Sometimes neither. Yeah, like Christian Bale, decent. Bruce Wayne, horrible fucking Batman, in my opinion.
Right. I'll be honest with you. My favorite of all time is at this point in time Michael Keaton. It's been that way since the early 90s. Of course, I'm not, the animated series, you always got to include that. But I'm going to agree with Ron here. And, with him saying I'm 100% on. After watching Pattinson do The Lighthouse, I'm sorry, that motherfucker can act. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm excited to see what he can do to this role and what he's going to add to it. I'm sure it's going to be different than what people expect. But, if you're a fucking Batman fan, that means that you've read 30, 40 different fucking stories about Batman that were entirely fucking different than the last one.
Right.
There's so many differences. So you can't really judge which Batman they're going to do because, I don't even know exactly which one they're basing this off of. But, or Good Time. That's a great film and performance. Exactly. But I'm 100% on board with him, man. Like, I think he's going to be awesome there. Like, he's done nothing but show how great of an actor he is, especially after getting the whole fucking Twilight thing on him and everything. Like,
right.
I think he's doing good at pushing that aside. I wouldn't say that Daniel Radcliffe had like the same kind of thing going on, but I feel like he did a real good job trying to separate himself from Harry Potter when he did Horns. Just look at those two. Yeah. Well, to be fair, you put Andy Serkis in anything, it's going to be fucking amazing. So, like I'm Patterson said on Stern that he did Twilight for a paycheck.
I believe it.
I would do it too. I'd be a sparkly vampire for a check. You
Yeah,
know, I would probably do way worse things than he would. Just keep that in mind. Like, so I get it. It is what it is. There's nothing anybody could do about it. But you know, I honestly think that he's going to do a pretty good job at it, and I think people need to sit there and actually give him a shot before they're going to judge it.
yeah.
You
Like
know?
I said, I was hesitant at first when I found out it was him, but like I said, I'm keeping an open mind. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and see what he does with the role. He may be fucking phenomenal. You know, you never know.
Yes. Yeah. I 100% agree. Anything you put Circus in, I'm
Hmm.
down 100%. The dude's fucking awesome. Like, I still can't get over him when he was doing all of his like promo stuff with like the Lord of the Rings when he was going on other shows and acting like Gollum and shit. Like, that dude's fucking crazy. I love him.
Right.
Is that dude in it? It's gonna be, yes, exactly. Um Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I've been staying away from a lot of trailers on this one. I don't even want to know too much about it. I want to
Right.
be excited for a Batman movie, and you know, DC hasn't had me excited since the Swamp Thing. So just being honest, you know,
Yeah.
they don't have a lot of their stuff isn't for me. You know, I'm a big
Yeah.
horror fan. I like my comic book stuff. Don't get me wrong. I like my superhero stuff, but not as much as my horror. That's for sure. But Batman is on the darker side and everything, so I'm kind of excited where they're going to go with this one.
Hmm.
Well, they have to wait for Pattinson to get over his COVID. Well,
Right.
what can you do? You know, hope the best. That's about it.
Yeah.
On the bright side, what? That's 2 weeks. But
Give or
anyways,
take.
let's go ahead and jump back into this episode a little bit. So, like I said, we get these things with Rupert Van Helsing going on inside of these episodes, which is pretty fucking interesting. And one of the things that I'm not sure if you caught it, it seemed like they didn't really talk about it much, but they chatted about it for just like a split second there. He found where he was by pretty much like finding what is it, like pretty much like things that were bought and sent over there, and that's how they track the address. But one of the things that they say is that Transylvanian soil is essential to vampires.
Yeah.
Have you ever fucking heard that?
That was literally the first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah, me
I,
too. And Ron, you're wrong. If you watch this episode, every time Michael McDowell's character goes and kills somebody, he makes sure to ask them if they've had dental surgery in the last 72 hours and if they do any
Mhm.
drugs or alcohol. So I'm
Right.
pretty sure they could catch whatever people have. like, it just adds to the cheesiness of this episode.
For
But
sure.
yeah, I didn't realize this whole essential dirt thing. Like, that's definitely something new to me, at least. Um,
Right.
yeah,
I found that interesting.
yeah, definitely was. But from there, we pretty much like it's what we got like 10 minutes left of the episode, and
Mhm.
it goes really really quick. So we end up getting him where Longtooth's at home now, and he figures out that he's kind of been followed, and we have his boss there, and he starts shooting him with holy water. He gives off this steam, which is just so fucking cheesy. But like right
Mhm.
before he's pretty much going to give up and start doing whatever he wants, um, Sally comes out.
Sally pops
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like no, 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 and then that's where we get these really, really awful sexual advances, and it's
Yeah. He was
really
very aggressive with it. He's like, he's gonna get me all this blood, and then you're gonna have like a relationship with me or some shit like that. And he was very aggressive with it.
Huh. That might be in the books and stuff, but I don't like as far as like film and comics go, I haven't seen that side of it personally.
Mhm.
Uh I could be wrong. Who knows? I haven't read or watched everything. That's for damn sure. Who the fuck can say they have? But um yeah, like I don't know though. It gets really weird quick, and we pretty much get George gets like knocked out and put into a coffin. and they lift him up, and then they obviously hear the sounds of, like, that's another thing that's really weird. We get the cops and the detectives and the Van Helsing character coming from upstairs. How often are you in a place where the people are coming at you from above?
Not that often.
Like, does that mean that they climbed a fucking ladder on the outside of their house to go through a window to go down? That's a lot of fucking extra work to try to fucking pull off a surprise.
Right.
Considering that you're going to hear every step above you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. That whole situation was like super fucking odd. And you could tell that they weren't in a basement because they did have like, windows and stuff on the side there were in the room that he was in. So we know he's on like the main floor there or whatever. So it's just a really interesting choice for them to go from above down at least. But they just go and hide. So we get Sally and Longtooth. They go and hide to the side there, and it's just such a cheesy fucking scene. And Rupert apparently, I guess, knows this vampire trick of having your coffin in the wall and exactly what rope to pull.
Right. We knew exactly where it was. He like went straight for it. It was weird.
Yeah, definitely fucking weird, dude. It made no fucking sense at all. I don't understand how he could figure out exactly that, this was the actual one. And I don't know. He must have encountered this exact same scenario. Maybe every vampire has a coffin in the wall with the exact same rope.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know either. But he ends up going, pulling it down. They see, his boss is there, and he kind of has his arms over himself. And they just killed him. They thought he was the vampire, so they killed him, and that was it. And
just
fucking
really, and that was it.
Right. And then we get the our last little ending scene there is we get Sally and Longtooth talking again, and she pretty much wants she had like one thing to ask him, and she really wanted to be a vampire, or what does she say? A creature of the night.
In her, like, of the night. Yeah.
Voice. And that's when we get him. Like it's so cheesy. What did she say? She says it was so sexy as she's like falling down and he's biting her, and that's it. But like before he bites her, he even asks her if she's had dental surgery in the last 72 hours. Right. So like, we still get that constant like little gimmick there, which is that's fun.
Probably the best line of the show.
Yeah. The best like line used multiple times of the show. So that's pretty much the entire episode as far as that goes. But now I think we're going to do some comic book comparisons, man. And since you're a guest on my show, I don't do this ever, just so you know, but you are one of the very few who actually went out of their way to check out this comic book. So why don't you go ahead and maybe tell us a couple of the differences, and I'll just fill in afterwards if there was anything that I noticed.
I was definitely curious as to how different the comic book was going to be as opposed to the show, because most of the time they're never like too similar. A lot of the times they're not. But yeah, some of the differences, and I noticed like in the comic book, his name was they called him Mr. Drink instead of Mr. Longtooth.
Yeah,
what's his name?
You get a lot of that stuff. Well, you're gonna get name changes. Going from the 50s to the 90s, so right. That one's common.
Right, and then what else did like in the comic book, the boss isn't really that big of a dick, as opposed to the show. In the show, he was a dick. He was just an asshole. In the comic book, at least in my opinion, they didn't make him out to be like an asshole.
He was just his boss. Just nothing else.
Yeah, like when he like in the show when he first got to work, he's like yelling at Sally saying he's gonna fire her and all this shit, and then he's like, "You can get fired too," and all this. But like in the comic book, when he arrives to work, he goes, "Oh, I'm glad you're early. I have an appointment uptown. I gotta go." And so it's like totally different there, as opposed to the show. So
yeah, it definitely is.
And then also in the comic book, they had no love interest, Sally and Dr. Longtooth. They show no interest in each other in the comic, as opposed to the show. she's the one who found out that he was a vampire. She followed him, saw him get in his coffin, and then went to Mr. Cross.
It was definitely way different the way that they did that. That's definitely for sure, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, definitely. There's quite a few big differences in this one. That's for sure. And on top of him, like not being an ass, as far as his boss goes, there was no plan to catch him either.
Right.
Like they make a pretty big point to make out that there was one in the actual episode, which is kind of interesting to take that and just add it in there entirely.
Right.
We also didn't have any kind of Van Helsing character at all.
No.
Which is definitely.
So I'm glad for the show they added Van Helsing. Totally. But for the comic book though, they didn't really introduce the Van Helsing character.
No, they definitely didn't. That's for sure. And they didn't do the whole thing of using the murders as like him trying to get criminals either. Like
it was just
book, he was a fucking vampire.
Yeah, it was just any random person.
Yeah,
he saw walking, and that was a different than the show as well.
Oh, definitely, man. And I'm gonna have to say though, the biggest difference was the end.
Yeah,
like we don't get a fake kill and a love happy ending. No, they come in and they fucking just kill that fucking vampire. They take him out
and pin the medal to him that Mr. Cross gets from the army.
Yeah, so like not only was he not a dick, but he took the medal and gave it to him for he wasn't just like not a dick. He was a super nice guy, really.
Yeah,
which is awesome, dude. That for sure. I think as far as what I caught, I didn't see any other real differences other than what you or I have mentioned.
Yeah, those are the main differences that I saw too.
Right. Well, it's definitely a fun one, man. I really like this one. That's for sure. The comic book was very interesting to say the least. But I guess we'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes after we get back from this commercial break and talk about our final thoughts. So stay tuned. We'll be back in about 5 minutes roughly, guys.
Hello. This is the Sasquatch, a.k.a. Bigfoot, but you can just call me Frank. And when I'm not stomping around the woods throwing rocks at hunters, I like to listen to the Paranormal Punchers podcast. That's right, Paranormal Punchers. They talk about all things paranormal, and they're hilarious. Go find them on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and paranormalpunchers.com.
Do you like the Tales from the Crypt? Do you love the Tales from the Crypt? Even if you've never seen an episode, this podcast is for you. I'm Melissa, your ghostess with the mostest, and host of the Good Evening Kiddies podcast. Each week, I break down another great episode from the TV series The Tales from the Crypt. Audio clips are included, so even if you haven't watched that episode, you're good to go. There are also special guests, trivia, mini movie reviews, and much more. What are you waiting for? Check out the Good Evening Kiddies podcast on Podbean, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. That's the Good Evening Kiddies podcast. Check it out today.
Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. A whole new season of spine-tingling tales.
For the first time in We're Not Afraid of the Dark history, we're actually going to watch a erotic scene
together. Just a couple brothers watching porn together. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, on air right now. This is the biggest plot hole I saw this, by the way. How in the fuck does she take him back in time?
But he was made it a point to bump him. But no, I agree.
How do you not catch this?
I was drunk when I watched this.
Whoa,
So were we.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just this giant fucking board right here ready to lock down.
Like it has hooks that you latch the fucking door to lock it.
She is on Mr. Skin Up Public in the show there. She does get that. And she's listed as great nudity. She's a red-haired girl. They say she has great natural tits.
See?
You seen her black people in this episode?
I like how she's exercising while eating it, and then she's in the bathroom taking a shit, reading the story, and the plates on the floor.
And this is also the first episode where our main characters aren't just a bunch of generic white kids.
Everything about our food is changing. The way we cook it, the way we eat it, and the way we share it. And that's why I'm encouraging you to come and check out Pardon My Fork. Conveniently packaged in hour-long episodes and available anywhere you find your favorite podcasts and at pardonmyfork.com. We are talking to home cooks, chefs, Food Network stars, and world food champions. So cleanse your palate and come and get a heaping helping of Pardon My Fork.
Greetings! We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, the bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
He's right. We wax philosophic about lots of geeky crap like old video games and movies, toys, cartoons. I don't know, help me out here.
Music, pants, quoting video games that don't have dialogues, shabibans, tasty news,
Unnecessarily long Japanese onomatopoeia.
butt breathers, uncomfortable nature facts.
or how to install a thermoflange.
And unlike all those other podcasts, we at Retro Redoctopus have an exciting rotating host schedule.
Do we? We sure do.
So, if you didn't like the guy flapping his gums this week,
Like me.
worry not, gentle listener. Next week we'll have a whole new host.
Of problems.
Hey, they might still suck, but they'll suck differently.
And you know what's really cool? Retro Reductopus is part of the Dorkening and Inebriar podcast networks, with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
Which is like every other Tuesday. We named it.
Anyways, you can listen to us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, or any podcast player cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all things that make growing up awesome.
Win championship belts. If you're not listening to Trick or Treat Radio, here's a taste of what you've been missing.
There's 3 guarantees in life. What are they?
Death, taxes, and Trick or Treat Radio every Friday morning.
This is one of the most convoluted movies I've ever seen in my life.
I'm fucking trying, man.
Hey.
Oh yeah. Hey. Oh yeah.
It's like you took a shit on a pile of shit.
But you shit on him for liking what he likes.
Yeah, well, it's my job.
This podcast is now banned in Germany.
It's me, Giovanni Lombardo Radici.
Shut up! I call bullshit. I demand someone to bring me the face of Lindsay Lohan.
If I had genitals, I would definitely bang her.
Oh, wait. She's a great big fan person.
You just hit the jackpot.
This is a weird movie, huh?
It had action, it had suspense, it had great characters, it had great acting.
I'm gonna strangle you with my jockey shorts.
I don't like mobster movies.
All right, well, here's my take. You're a sick fuck.
Thank you. Now shut the fuck up and let me talk.
Have you ever seen 2001?
The box, right? The box and the monkey.
Available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and trickortreatradio.com.
Arrivederci, douchebags.
And welcome back to this awesome episode of Tales from the Podcast. Here with my guest for the evening, I guess, or morning, Justin. So, Justin, first off, I want to say thank you very much for coming on with me on this episode and talking about the Reluctant Vampire with me, man. So, I guess let's go ahead and start this off by, giving our final thoughts on this. So, with the comic and the episode and everything, we went through it all, man. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you thought about that, and then if you could give me a rating between 1 and 10 of what where you would put this one.
So I definitely liked both the show and the comic. I kind of like the fact that the book or the comic and the show were like totally different. Like you get 2 different sides of the characters, and so I kind of really like that aspect of it. Overall, great episode. Well casted episode too. Like we mentioned, you have a lot of big heavy hitters in the film industry in this one. So overall, I think it was well casted, well shot episode. I got to say though, my favorite part of the episode is when he's going to get his first kill, and that guy's going after the old lady. Like it looks bad for a second, and then the old lady just like kicks him in the nuts, and he goes down. So probably one of my favorite parts of the episode was that part. But overall, yeah, like I said, it was a great episode. Probably one of my favorites, and same with the comic. It was a good comic.
Yeah. So where would you rate this one?
Ooh, I'd give it an 8, maybe a 9. Let's go with 9. I'll go with 9.
9? That's pretty up there, man. I'm gonna have to agree with you on pretty much almost everything that you said there, dude. Well cast episode, amazing. That's what kind
of made me give it a 9 is because of the cast.
Yeah, they fucking killed it.
They did.
They really did. It it has this whole cheesy like 80s B movie feel to it too, where you get like a lot of the hokiness, like even with the music, everything, and I love that personally. I can see why some people wouldn't like that, but me personally, I really like that a lot. I would also have to agree in between, like I'm gonna say like an 8.5. I can't choose in between an 8 or a 9 there. I'm gonna go right in the
Right.
middle.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it was great all the way around. There's a lot of blood in it. We get a vampire story, which I really like these supernatural style ones compared to
Mhm.
like these murder mystery types ones that they do a lot, or you know what I mean, where his ex-lover's out to get this person or they witnessed this, and like so these supernatural ones I really actually like quite a bit more personally. And
Yeah.
just everything about it was great. And then the comic book, it was like having, like you said, two stories with it. It was really well done. Some of it I think could have been done without. I don't know. I don't see the point in having a love interest in every single type of story that they do. But I guess if it sells, it sells. But
Right.
overall, I thought it was a really fun episode, and I had a
For
blast
sure.
with it, dude, for sure. And may I add, I've also had a blast having you on to talk about this with me. It's been really, really cool, dude.
I had a great time, man.
Yeah. So I guess before we go ahead and wrap up everything, I do want to go ahead and remind everybody to check out the fundraising raffle event that we're doing for Malvolia Season 4. It's over at talesfromthepodcast.com/fundraiser. We've just added on our third option for entry. So like I said before, $5 can get you 1 ticket, $20 can get you 6 tickets, or for the last 3 days of this raffle, which will be ending on Monday, and Monday night we will be doing our live drawing. Well, I say drawing, but I paid for a prize wheel, so I got the wheel app, and then I got the thing for everything. So it's all 100% random who wins it. But like I said, for the last 3 days there, for $30, you will get double the entries so you get 12. So 12 entries for the $30. Hopefully people are interested in that and keep that going. It's got quite a bit of traction so far, and I'm pretty happy with the way it's been going. So hopefully it continues to go that way, and we can help make season 4 of Malvolia pretty fucking fun for everybody to watch. So before we go ahead and take us the rest of the way out of here, man, can you tell everybody where they can find you, your show, and what catchers are you on, man?
So you can find Drunk Conspiracies podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and Google Podcast. I think that's all I'm on. I'm not too sure. I think that's all the platforms I'm on, though. But you can follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/Drunk Conspiracies podcast. And I have a Twitter, but don't really use it because I found Twitter's not that great for podcasting. So, but yeah, just Drunk Conspiracies podcasts on Apple, Google, and Spotify, and then same on Instagram.
Right. And for everybody who, if they're not able to catch that right away, of course, you can go and rewind and check out the video. Or if you want to check it out on podcast form here in a few weeks when it's released, all those will actually be in the show notes as well. So you'll be able to go click on all of those links, find Justin, find all the shows that he's part of. Because you said you had another one too that you were going to be working on, right?
Yeah, I'm dropping another podcast. I'm just waiting for the artwork to be finished up. But it's called
Fair.
One-on-One with Justin Diatma, and I interview celebrities like musicians, actors. I just interviewed an MMA fighter recently. So I got about 4 episodes recorded now with some actors and musicians and a fighter. So I'm about to launch that one soon.
That's pretty cool, man. Hopefully that all goes over very well for you, dude.
I appreciate it.
Do you have anything else that you would like to plug before we go ahead and take us out of here?
I think that's it. Just go follow my Drunk Conspiracies podcast. I think you guys will like it, especially if you have an open mind and like conspiracy theories and listening to drunk people ramble on.
Who the hell doesn't? You know what I mean? You never know what the hell you're going to get with the drunk conversation. That's for sure.
Right. No, but we make it interesting. I think a lot of people will like it.
That's really, really cool, man. I know for a fact that I've been checking out the Drunk Conspiracies podcast. I think it's really, really interesting. I like where it's going. And who knows, man? maybe I could talk you into letting me on an episode.
Anytime you want, just,
I'm
pick a
into some pretty
conspiracy.
fucked up shit. So
Well, I always let my guests pick the conspiracy, so it's something they feel like interested in talking about. So pick a conspiracy, let me know, and we'll set it up.
I grew up with conspiracies, man. My dad still has tape over his cameras. He does, like, trust me, it's like been a huge part of my fucking life growing up.
Yeah.
But dude, thank you so much again for coming on, dude. Like I said, it's been fun. We'll definitely have to do this again. Maybe
sure.
I'll get you on the other show. We could talk about some really, really bad movies.
I actually have one that we could do.
Oh yeah, you have to tell me about it here in a minute once we take us out of here. So, like I said, thank you again, man. I'm going to drop you down below. So, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been a blast. Like I said, go check out our fundraiser. Go check out Justin. Check out his podcast. Give it a like. Share his stuff. You know, try to support people. So, I guess with everything being said, guys, the crypt is closed.